Marshmallows, my marshmallows. Are you ready for me to gooify your brain like Bob Rossi here? To beat the devil out of it? Um, when I do my hydrogen gambit, this guy's gonna leave a bunch of stuff on the table. Okay. He's gonna bring up a bunch of flashy stuff, which I'm gonna steal that angle, and we're gonna need to do a couple of different things for a full Jacobian to build a baseline. So there'll be some M1, M2, MN problems. Like I'm gonna do that locally. It doesn't necessarily correlate to the what is it, the Irish brain with Freud over there, or anything else on a long-term phenome South America thing. So like there will be some I hat J hat differences inside of there, but in general, build your case study. I got a kid. You would want the 18 to 80 on most of them, but just to keep it to the figure four, I need like 20 10-year olds, well, let's say 9-year olds, boy and girl, so 40 kids right there. I need 40 or another 20 18-year olds, and that's just keeping it tight, boy and girl, before you get to what conditionally 35, 36, which is just your normal figure three, you know. When we get into here, what this third row generally would be to these two is a normal brain pattern. We've separated eight of the kids here, four of the kids here, but it still built me what I knew was the omega symbol in the brain, which is your hand coordination, left and right side. It looks like a little omega symbol, I guess, an upside down omega symbol. Your pineal gland, your frontal cortex, your cerebrum, your medulla oblongata, all that stuff in there. Well, we're going to build to the difference in a triage center. That there's conditional models, whether it's an old kid or an old guy. They're still going to have whether a nail sticking in that part of the brain. Kids are just going to be generally a little bit quicker about rehealing and what you can do in that timeline, where it starts to fall off the rails at about that Laplacian right there. And you can put that 18, 9, 18, 36, 54, whatever you want to do with it, whatever seems like sensible metrics between their conditional models that seem to prime, have a pole or a zero there. That's important because remember, we're looking at this in a black and white manner. Um,
You have a great
gosh,
core, but teachers need more. More decodables.
You can see TWA remains bright.
pretty hard pictures to get, and again, talking about a potentially different route that would key into different parts of your brain. I think he's talking about strokes here, and this being one of them. And again, this is going to affect hard your writing center of your brain over there, bump on the back of the head, um, especially if you're right-handed. Um, Put it back over here for a minute. So obviously something's not so good here. Just the symmetry is out, or the figure 1, 2, 3. N1 half, and then some other parts of the math equation. That's always the trending characteristic. Again, kid, adult, boy, girl. You're going to see a lot of case studies where that variable is this. Triage center against the 35-year-old with Playboy magazine to try to figure out what is going down here is not going to be, I'm not sure exactly, it's this equipment. This is, again, just composition, physical structure of the brain. It's not really going to give me the EKG or EEG on this being an MRI to really describe what's going down in the pineal gland or the frontal lobe or the writing center of the brains. When you're right-handed, this is pretty active, and this is going to be a lot beastier when you get older, comparatively to the general uniform shape, unless you're developing as a kid. And that's something you would have to track with these pictures to really quantify that calculation, even if it's its own one-person line. That here, that's functionable to that IH height or distance, smallest movement at C. So again, I'm not looking at that index inside of here. I'm looking at something more practical that comes up for different reasons. How we access that makes a big difference as well. That's a lot of deep tissue where it's going to glow with intensity if an EEG, I think, is again what that is. But triage is generally going to be the base of where you get the majority of your material with the nursing facility or some kind of main system. Not a lot of people, nor can I just pretty invasive to make me lay down and get this material to really figure out how many folds you got in your brain and whether it's worth counting them up to determine what rank you get when I could just give you an ASVAB and see how that looks under the radar. Track that on the log to see if it makes a couple of more wrinkles in there. But I thought that was a cool little note. Life is an MRI machine is generally the joke I like to give you because you're put in this ball housing on the issue that really kind of, pretty distinctive when you have the picture. So